And here we are. Alrighty. So it's been a while, and I don't anticipate too many views just because didn't really like hype this thing up or anything like that. But I figured it's all about you, the viewer, whomever you may be, wherever you may be. Uh, this hopefully should be a relatively short one, and it is basically just revisiting this topic, this video that the most recent one that Andrew and I did. Uh, which was earlier this month, um, referencing ticker symbol MEG, and it was really all about just trying to show people the early stages of due diligence. Just because I am very much aware that people wanted to actually like see actual people doing due diligence, kind of sort of like in real time, and we gave you a snippet of it. And this video is sort of a follow up of sorts. Sorry that for those that wanted Andrew to hop on. We both been busy, and this is basically a side project for both of us. But we're here now, and oh wow, I am surprised. I didn't expect a single person to be in this live. So thank you all for showing up. Uh, yes, ultimately, what I'm getting at is uh, and this probably could have been a video. This probably could have been an email. um, is that all right? So in recapping the last video, there were some critical questions because we looked at this as a possible bearish candidate. There are existing ideas out there. There's a saying. I forgot who said it, but a saying. One of the sayings is "good artists steal," and you don't in the stonk market, you don't necessarily get added points for originality. Uh, it's okay if people are willing to share their ideas, to use their ideas as a base to take a look and see what's out there. And that's what we did. If there was a bullish report, then we would have just been slightly different criteria. But by and large, we still care about the same things. We still care about how fundamentally sound the accounting systems are, be they from a principle of revenue recognition to the balance sheet health. Basic fundamental analysis. Uh, and some more added nuance. Some an eye or a consideration for macro, depending on who you may be. Also, your weightings may vary. Uh, you know, the composition of the marketplace, as far as like competitors and any again a little bit of a macro thing, but also headwinds, tailwinds, what have you. Uh, and I think we did an all right job of covering our bases the first go, and this one is sort of like, yeah, again, just that revisit of that capture of what we found. So off screen, Andrew, as well as the person that proposed this idea, that Andrew look into Jehoshaphat's short report. Uh, the two between the two of them, they've reached out to that company's investor relations, and if you recall, the key critical points were why is there why was their revenue recognition possibly a little shaky, and that their accounts receivable kept, well, okay, not revenue recognition, but their accounts receivable seemed a little weird. And like I also pointed that out, in that you had bad debt expense, but then all of a sudden you had a recovery of bad debt expense uh, in all these previous years. What the heck happened? Um, and according to Andrew, what Andrew told me was there was an ERP screw up. For some of you, you're like, oh, that makes sense. For others of you, ERP, the hell are you throwing this alphabet soup at me for? The acronym Enterprise Resource Planning Software. Basically, what with an ERP system is, this company either changed ERP systems, or something happened in the past where the the software that's the core business that like is sort of like a one-stop shop for all their core business operations, be it from supply chain management to accounts receivable, accounts payable, inventory management, HR, all that stuff. uh, that something changed and something went wrong. And ERP system screw ups or changes can be messy and can be terrifying. I cannot stress how concerning it can be. I think one of the highest profile ones was back in somewhere in the mid to late 20 teens. Nike changed up their ERP system, and it was a very costly process. Just because, like, again, it hits everything, and it can take a very long time to clean things up. Which, again, which is why for those that are more experienced, you look at that, makes sense. The other one is that the one point that was critical in that in the short report from Jehoshaphat Research was stock-based compensation, and how in their view it was egregious. With some consideration of business operations, it's not we covered last video, not as egregious, but yeah, again, between Andrew and the person that he collaborated with, again, uh, my default is I won't take credit, but I will also try to respect anonymity. If you ever wanted to reach out to me, I like to think I'm fairly accessible. And again, it's I'll hopefully try and ask. If I don't, then it's up to whoever I'm conversing with if they want the credit or not. Either way, I won't take the credit if it's not mine to take. But anyways, that's side note over. Words. Yeah, so SBC, we noted that in reaching out to the investor relations, and also with our own findings, that a good chunk of the SBC, stock-based compensation, is options, and the way how those are expensed would be based off of the share price at that given moments in question. And like 20% of the entire SBC pool would be SARs, or stock appreciation rights. And I think like a good chunk of that was were basically like rich man problems, as far as like objective share price of, like, if the share price was $130, then the rights would kick in, and that's kind of sort of like a rich person's problem to have. Uh, so like, I do have, just speaking candidly with you, the viewer, I do have a bit of a bias. Some might say a draconian bias, to my own detriment, of stock-based compensation, because it is a real expense to you, the shareholder. It's not a cash-based expense necessarily, but it is a real expense, and people should at least respect it and consider it. Uh, at the same time, though, if the composition of it isn't as big a problem, and some of it is more of a quote unquote good problem to have, then it's just something for people to keep in mind. Uh, and yeah, I just wanted to touch up on those 2 points, which would be ERP screw up, which fiddles with accounts receivable, bad debt expense, bad debt recovery. The other one being what's it called? Oh yeah, yeah. The SBC. Yeah, so that hit the 2 points. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, we do realize, and we did talk about this, that this company has exposure, or has a component that will face any tailwinds if there are natural disasters. um, because there's if any sort of like chemical exposure or infrastructure or components get damaged, they test the environment. So tailwinds. What has happened recently here in the United States? Two sizable hurricanes have happened. So with that being said, obviously, you know. it wasn't a good idea to have a bearish expression. Actually, behind the scenes, again, I apologize, I've been busy, but behind the scenes, Andrew was actually entertaining the idea of going, having a bullish expression on the position. For those that don't know, Fabio also may or may not have entertained the same thing, and the two of them may or may not have executed that. I'm not necessarily going to talk about what they have done. I believe the most recent Capital Mindset weekly icon, which is one of their weekly programs. Talked about the topic, and again, that's yes, I'm a paid member there, but I'm not gonna gonna leak things necessarily. I'll just tell you uh what I was thinking. It's sort of like a timeline. So the timeline of events, roughly speaking, was about a roughly a day or two before the video that referencing right here. Um, Andrew says, "Hey, there's a short report. Person I respect also reached out to me, said, "Hey, let's look into this." And we both knew that people wanted to see early stages of due diligence, so do that. I did a little bit of pre due diligence efforts before the video or the live stream, and my original thought process was, okay, I see a little bit of what they're saying, but maybe there are some things that are reasonable explanations as to why things are the way they are. But identified my own points of contention and concern. Uh, and having done some more collaborative efforts with Andrew that we saw in that live, it didn't seem like an obvious bearish idea. Um, and depending on the timeline, again, we have dates, thankfully, right down there, as well as the video in question or the live in question. You can see how the stonk price has moved around. And I forgot who it was, but someone joked, Andrew, you finally bottom tick something and you did it the right way. uh, but jokes aside, um, yeah, jokes aside, the thing is that I could see the arguments for a bullish case, or at least a speculative position. But for me, I've just been busy. I legitimately have been busy. I didn't do it at all. I didn't take any play on it one way or the other. And that's one of the things that I did. So yeah, Andrew again, and Fabio, other people may or may not have done it, may or may not have worked out for them so far, or uh, the I do want to stress to people, and I don't think this is necessarily the right YouTube or any place necessarily is the right format for people to be like handheld coddled through a trade or through an investment. Um, what I do think, and hopefully that this side project that Andrew and I both have is something that we can do is hopefully provide value, I guess, or some sort of edutainment in 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 some like general repetitive questions that we've seen or consistent questions, frequently asked questions. Um, and it's more of a what to think, or what things to look out for, and give you people some frameworks of how to think, or frameworks of what perspectives or points of interest may be interesting. And I think that's a great segue for the next project that I have in the works. Some people may have realized I've hinted at things behind the scenes of, like, I love just nerding out over research, and I don't guarantee that it's one that people will necessarily like. But what I want to do is combine a sort of like updated version of Peter Lynch's mantra of, people don't invest necessarily in what they know. So, for example, if you were a restaurateur, or like we're very well in touch with the restaurateur business, maybe you didn't necessarily like should invest in like Denny's necessarily, but what if you really had a good keen eye for a company that was a supplier. Maybe there was an argument for, I don't know, Lamb Weston being potatoes. And for a period of time, you may or may not have done all right. Just give yourself a fighting chance and lean into your edges. So that's one of the things, like, that's just like one concept that people frequently pull from a Peter Lynch quote. But I wanted to expand upon that, and the next area, believe it or not, is going to be some of the up and coming talent agencies. People may know these talent agencies primarily for virtual tubers, VTubers as they are called. Um, but again, I'm just I think I'll try and aim for that one being roughly 24 hours from now. uh, there's only like two publicly traded companies, and thanks to my own efforts and stumbling across memes, it seems like there are a fair amount of smaller companies. So this is it's I'm gonna spread. All right, I'll be honest. I'm gonna spread myself very thin. It's gonna be just enough information for someone to get their butt totally handed to them and get their teeth kicked in. But uh for the novice person, or for someone that would like some different frameworks of thinking, I think I will be able to plug and play a fair amount of different concepts and topics for people to think about, and hopefully will be of some value. So yes, there we go. And uh bad content creator over here. So yes, thank you, Fuhat, for referencing good old Andrew. Hello, Dex. Hello, Milk Shakespeare. Good old EJ. Uh, Peepo Coffee. Um, and yeah, it's just between getting sick and academics. Um, I sadly I am not a sports betting guy. I always recommend prudence and caution. So uh, yeah, just be careful and be safe out there. um, Denny's, yeah, the restaurant industry is really weird. I've noted that, like your basic, well, lack of a better word, it's been past 10 minutes. Your basic bitch methodology of, like, this looks optically cheap, this looks optically expensive. There seems to be like wide divergence, at least as far as like the U.S. Restaurant co's or restaurant related companies, of like, this looks optically cheap and this looks optically expensive. At the same time, though, there probably are very good reasons. Um, so that's, just, again, be careful out there. Just or buy pee. Yeah, your good old bias there. Um, you botched the acronym. It's SPFB actually. Um, oh God. Uh, Imagine investing in non-US companies. Actually, fintech boy, that's the funny thing, is that the only companies that I have publicly available info on uh, are sadly non-US, and I will talk about that. And the thing, it's good God, I haven't really fully fleshed out the not script, but like the organizational flow of how I want to do that live, and it's gonna be rough. Like, I will spread myself too thin, but um, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I'll talk about that for sure. So just different things to consider. So with that said, uh, yeah, I hope you all have a good one. Thank you all for actually tuning in. Like, I legitimately did not think that we would hit double, like, granted, yeah, low, but double digit percentage, or double digit percentage, duh, words, like 10 ish viewers in this one, because that again, I can see the metrics. The if it has -2A1G, it's like roughly half the views of dual Andrew and myself. You know, uh, video. And again, just thankful that anyone bothers to tune in. And as always, please do take a look at the comments. You know, feel free to share anything that you'd like. Hopefully on the topic of again the ticker MEG. Montrose. It was at least something for people to consider of what early stage fundamental due diligence actually looks like. And again, reaching out to investor relations when you have a question, not that hard. Like maybe you won't get a reply, but believe it or not, like people without insano net worths can actually do get replies with a polite and properly constructed email or call, depending on how it's done and what the IR links or available contact methods are. So again, just some due diligence. I don't know if people wanted advanced due diligence and further steps. Because I do know that there are a fair amount of other topics that people have requested that are still on the list. Everything from modeling, how to make a model. I Worst case scenario, sometime in the distant future, I'll bang that out of, hey, let's steal and modify a model. Because there are existing like respectable models out there that you don't necessarily need to be a spreadsheet wizard, because I don't consider myself a spreadsheet wizard by any means. um, and there's existing legitimately good ones out, or at least one that I can think of that's good, or at least a good template. um, yeah, Jesse has a good medal. SEC filings, that could be a good one. Maybe I could. Maybe I could. Uh, but baseball. Um, I did not realize that Fuhat was a very adamant baseball fan. Anyways, so that said, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you all have a good one, and I will try to. I'm already in Streamyard. I'll just make the schedule for it roughly like 24-ish hours from now. I'll have another live going for the topic. So have a good one, you all, and I will see you around.